Today's lesson is on rotations. We'll look at how to complete rotations and a variety of types of rotational symmetry. A rotation is a transformation in which a figure is turned about a fixed point called the center of rotation. Rays drawn from the center to a point and its image form what's called the angle of rotation. So a rotation about a point P through an angle of x degrees maps every point Q to a point Q prime, so that we have Q is not the center of rotation P, or Q is the center of rotation P. Coordinate rules for rotations we'll focus on are counterclockwise. We assume counterclockwise unless told otherwise. 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees. And what this tells us is the rule that we would use. So for 90 degrees, we're going to interchange the x and y values again for points, and for looking at a graph, and take the opposite of the first one. For 180, we just take the opposite of both points. And then 270 counterclockwise, which is the same as 90 clockwise, we're going to have to swap the points in the opposite of the second one. So this one is very commonly also known as 90 clockwise. A rotation is a rigid motion. So in our first example, we'll look at an example of drawing a 60-degree rotation about point P. So we go from point A, we're going to draw the same distance to A prime. The angle in between is 60 degrees. We do the same for B and B prime and C and C prime. Each of the angles formed from A to A prime, B to B prime, and C to C prime is a 60-degree angle. So for example, this angle is 60 degrees. Likewise, it's the same for the other angles. This angle is also 60 degrees. And the third angle is 60 degrees. So our new shape is connecting those points. In the next example, we're going to graph the vertices and the image after a 180-degree rotation. So for a 180-degree rotation, we look at the coordinate points. This is at the point 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 1. Our image points are going to be at -1, -1. Take the opposite of both values in sign. This is -3, -1, and -3, -4. I would look at the points and then connect the points. Graph RS and its image after 180 degrees and then reflection in the y-axis. So here's what that will look like. Here's our original image. We have our first one was a 180 degree rotation. So we take the opposite of the x and take the opposite of the y value. And then we're taking that and reflecting or flipping that over the y-axis reflection. For that, notice what changes is the a value, or the first value, becomes the opposite in sign, and the second one stays the same. Alright, for the next, we're asked about rotational symmetry. So for this one, every time we turn this, there's 3 parts. It's going to be looking the same, so divide this into 3. So this is yes, 120 degrees. This one is a no. This one would be a yes. You'd have to turn it completely around, so 180 degrees. And that's all for our lesson today.